I hope that you are well and also hope that you are having a good day so far. Today we'll be doing our grade 8 English lesson on apostrophes. And before we start, we're going to log on to aplusstudents.ca. Once you've logged on to aplusstudents.ca with our username as well as our password, and then we're going to select the subject of English language arts. Grade 8. And then we're going to scroll down up until we get to the chapter of apostrophes. All right. So we see that chapter is apostrophes. Our subject is English language arts. Grade 8. And the lessons that we are going to be focusing on under the chapter of apostrophes is to correct errors with compound and joint positions, and to identify and correct errors with plural and possessive nouns. So that is going to be our lessons for today, to identify and correct errors with compound and joint positions, as well as to identify and correct errors with plural and possessive nouns. All right, so apostrophes, right? Before we start, so apostrophes are basically these little things that looks like a comma that is on top, and then we have an S, right? So usually apostrophe shows positions. It shows either who or what is doing something, right? That's apostrophes. And we are going to identify and correct the errors with the compound as well as joined positions. All right. So basically, okay. So I think I made an error when I said, because I snuck up. Let me see. So this is actually grade 8. I apologize. Right? This is grade 8. All right. So we're doing apostrophes. I apologize. And we're going to identify and correct errors with compound and joint positions, right? And firstly, a position, um, or even apostrophes, it shows position. It shows either who or what owns something or has something, right? That basically shows apostrophes. And then also with apostrophes, we have plural or possessive nouns, right? Which means that with apostrophes, we also have singular possessors, positions, as well as plural positions, right? And it basically shows either one person or more than one person that owns something or that has something. All right, like for example, over here, right? It says a possessive noun. It shows either who or what owns something or who or what has something. And basically, to form a possessive, to form the possessive of a compound noun, you need to make the last part of the noun a possessive. So the last part of the noun is a possessive. An example is, right? So if your noun is brother, right? Then it means that it is going to be brothers, that is the last part, right? In this case, it is more compound, right? It's words that is joined together, right? It says my sister-in-law's career. So whose career is it? It is my sister-in-law's. So we don't say my sister's, we say my sister-in-law's. So the last part of the noun becomes the position or shows possessive, right? And we put an apostrophe, like I said, an apostrophe and an S. So it's my sister-in-law's career. And then the second one says, the Secretary of State's speech. So if the Secretary of State made a speech, and then we say the Secretary of State's speech. Not secretaries, but states speech. That is why we say the last part of the noun shows position. The Chief of Staff's legacies. The Chief of Staff's legacy. And then lastly, we say my great grandmother's names, right? So whether it is plural or whether it is singular, like in this case where it says my great grandmother's names, this refers to more than one grandmother. All right, so once again, we say a possessive pronoun, or not a pronoun, a possessive noun. It shows either who or it shows what owns something or who or what has something. That shows position, possessiveness, right? And in order for us to form possessive, to form the possessive, right, of a compound noun, we need to make the last part of that noun a possessive. And then we made an example of my sister-in-law's career. So laws, that is the last part that is going to we're going to add the apostrophe and an S. Then we also made an example of Secretary of State's. All right. And when it comes to nouns, right? Because remember, we're doing possessive nouns. So when two nouns are joined together by either and, right? Specifically by and, then it means that we share possession of something. And when we write it down, because remember, we are now using compound nouns, right? And we're going to use and, for example, to join those two words. So when two nouns are joined by and, we share position of something, then it means that only the second noun should be written as a possessive noun. And if we look at an example of Becca and Lily's room is larger than mine. So we don't say Becca's and Lily's, right? We only add the apostrophe by the second name. So which means that Becca and Lily, they share a room. And then also we have, they say when two nouns are joined by and, but they do not share position of something, then it means that both nouns should be written as a possessive noun. Meaning Becca's and Lily's rooms are larger than mine. And when we say Becca's and Lily's room are better than mine, it means that they have the single rooms. So we say Becca's and Lily's rooms are larger than mine. And that shows that both of them have their own room, which means that we mean that Becca's room is large, and we're saying that Lily's room is large or larger than mine, right? Which clearly means that Becca and Lily, they have their own rooms. But if we just say Becca and Lily's room, then we're making mention of both of their rooms that they share together. All right. So we spoke about, we're still making mention of plural possessive nouns. And remember, we just to recap again, we said possessive nouns, it shows either who or it shows what owns something or who has something, right? And we said we can form possessive or compound nouns to make the last part of the noun a possessive. All right, so we said to form the possessive or compound noun, you need to make sure that the last part of the noun or that noun possessive or the last part of that noun shows position, right? by adding an apostrophe and an S. Or if you're referring to more than one person, it ends with an S, then we say just the apostrophe at the end of that word. All right, so now we're going to click the correct text if needed, right? It says Ethel Rosenberg's and Julius Rosenberg's conspiracy trial in 1951 was highly publicized and widely debated. While some Americans felt the Rosenbergs were victims of anti communist history, others believe that the husband and wife had indeed shared secret information with the Russian government. All right. So we said Ethel Rosenberg and Julius Rosenberg's conspiracy trial in 1951 was highly publicized and widely debated, while some Americans felt the Rosenbergs were victims of anti communist hysteria. Others believed the husband and wife had indeed shared secret information with the Russian government. All right, so we by possessive nouns. And if we want to identify and correct the errors with compound or joint positions, right, it says we are not there. They're just saying click to correct the text if needed. All right, so they're not giving us the answer, or at least a possible answer. Okay, it says mother-in-law's. Oh, yeah, yeah. We need to look at these two words and we need to correctly write down the the correct apostrophe errors, right? Which means that since Ethel Rosenberg and Julius Rosenberg are its husband and wife, only the one Rosenberg is going to have an apostrophe in this. So we will say Ethel Rosenberg and Julius Rosenberg's conspiracy trial. right? So only one apostrophe. Now we're saying it says my mother's in-laws house is directly. Did I know? Give me 1 second. I apologize for going into the test. All right. Now it says, my mother in law's house is directly across the street from ours. Fortunately, we have a good relationship with her and we all enjoy spending time together. If we were to change or correct this word mother in law, right, then we're not going to put the apostrophe in S by mother. We're going to put the apostrophe and the S by the last part of that noun, which means that we're going to say my mother in law's apostrophe and an S. So my mother-in-law's house is directly across the street from ours. Fortunately, we have a good relationship with her and we all enjoy time together. All right, so we're going to say my mother-in-law's house is directly across from the street from ours. All right, and even though Malia did not place first in her 5K, was not placed first in a 5K meet, her runners up prize made all her month's training worth it. So we're not going to say runners up, we just say runner ups. Prizes made all her month's training worthwhile. All right, so now let's go to our test. We're going to identify and correct errors with the compound and joint position. So once again, here it says my mother in-law house directly across the street from ours. Fortunately, we have a good relationship with her and we all enjoy spending time together. Now, remember we said the apostrophe needs to only be placed by the last part of that noun, right? The last part of the noun, which means that is going to be mother-in-law's apostrophe S, mother-in-law's apostrophe double S, or mother-in-law SES. All right. So if we were to choose the correct one, then we will say my mother-in-laws, right? So which means that it's going to be option one. Yes. So mother-in-laws. We said that we put the apostrophe at the end. We place it at the end of the noun. So Ethan Rosenberg and Julius Rosenberg's conspiracy trial in 1951 was highly publicized and widely debated. Remember, we said that when it comes to compound words, right, where two words is joined together, like for example, in this case, Ethel Rosenberg and Julius Rosenberg, right? So since they're living in the same house, right, they are not going to, they're only going to put an apostrophe in is after the last word and the last part of that word. So we'll say Ethel Rosenberg and Julius Rosenberg's conspiracy trial, right? And we'll choose option one. All right. We say once again, my mother in law's house is directly across the street from ours. Fortunately, we have a good relationship with her and we all enjoy spending time with her, time together. So, yes, his mother's in law. And we specifically said that the apostrophe, right, goes at the end of that noun, right? But the last part of that noun, which is mother-in-law's apostrophe is. All right, so we said my mother-in-law's house is directly across the street from ours, so we can then. I think they put the wrong one here. So chief steps. All right. Yeah, they're giving us again Ethel Rosenbergs and Julius Rosenbergs. All right. So even though Malia did not place first in a 5K meet, her runners up prize made all her months of training worthwhile. So her runners up or her runners up prize made all worth the training. All right. So we say runner ups made all her months of training worthwhile. All right. Now let's go to the next one, right? Where we are going to identify and correct errors with plural and possessive nouns. It says, although a wasp's painful sting can ward off some predators, insects and animals ranging from the beetles to blackbirds still prey on the insects. So we're going to say wasps, the wasp's painful sting, right? So wasps, painful sting can ward off some predators. And we just added an apostrophe in this. The reason why we just added an apostrophe So we can say, although a wasp's painful sting can have can ward off some predators, insects, and animals, ranging from beetles to blackbirds, still prey on the insects. So we said this word wasps needs to be wasps, right? It is a singular possessive noun. So that is how we're supposed to have written wasps. All right. So it says the newspaper article discussed several senators' opinions about how to balance budget. And opinions is wrong, right? Opinions is without the apostrophe and only an S to show the plural. All right. So we see the newspaper article discussed several senators' opinions about how to balance the budget, right? So if we're talking about several senators, then we can leave this the same. But then opinion, right? Opinion does not have an apostrophe in this. All right. So remember we said with apostrophes, right? We add the apostrophe to the noun, and that is to show position, right? It either shows who or what is either doing something, owning something, or something that belongs to him or her, right? And we also said that when we add or select and then we need to all right, so we say opinions should be opinions, and that is what we fixed, right? The only time we add an apostrophe and an S or just an apostrophe is to a noun. All right. And remember once again, we said plurals, we have singular possessive, we have plural possessives, right? And then we also have just our possessive nouns. And possessive noun shows who or what owns something or has something. And then we add an apostrophe in it is, or just an apostrophe to a singular noun to make it positive. And then we have a few examples. And then we also have a compound words, right? It says when a plural noun also ends with an S, then apostrophe just we just add an apostrophe, no S, to make the possessive noun. And then when a plural does not have or does not end in S, then we add apostrophe and S to make it a possessive noun. All right, so now let's go to our test. So we need to find the plural or possessive error. It says during the debate, the candidates argued about education, taxes, and America's international struggles. Standings. So we need to change this word, Americas. And Americas is going to have an apostrophe and an S. All right, so we said Americas. So during the debate, the candidates argued about education, taxes, and America's first international standing. So well done. Okay, so we say bird watchers can find the red-winged blackbird in marshes and fields throughout North America. The bird's distinctive ocally call makes it easy to identify. All right, so we can say the bird watches. If we say the bird watches, right, then it means that we're going to get rid of the apostrophe because it now becomes just a plural, not a possessive noun, just a plural, right? So we say it's bird watches. So we can say Cornelius Vanderbilt Bolt was one of the richest Americans in history. The famous businessman's fortune was made in railroads and shipping. All right, and if we choose the correct one, we choose option one. And we can even add it over there. All right. It says several recent studies have linked standing desks to improve in workers' works health. And we say several recent studies have linked standing tests to improvements in workers' health. Due to this finding, many companies are now offering their employees the option to use standing desks. Right? And if we say employees, then it means that we are just referring to plural, more than one employee, no position at all. Yes, employees. Well done. Okay, it says although a wasp's painful sting can ward off some predators, insects, and animals, ranging from beetles to blackbirds, still prey on the insects. So we say although wasp's painful sting can ward off some predators, insects, and animals, ranging from beetles to blackbirds, they still prey on insects. And we say although the wasps, right, because we're actually referring to one, so it is wasp apostrophe s. All right. All right, so that is the end of our lesson on apostrophes. We said we add an apostrophe. All right. So we're going to, so that's the end of our lesson on apostrophes. We said apostrophes are words that are used to show either position. It shows either who or what owns something, or it shows who or what has something, right? And that we call apostrophes, right? And we went over apostrophes with compound sentences, compound words, as well as we join positions together, right? And we've said that with an apostrophe, we add the apostrophe to the last part of a noun, especially if it is in a group or pair, right? So even if we were to fix it, right, we need to see if it is either a singular or plural, and then that is how we can mix it from there, right? And then we either say that if the words where our certain things are, if the lockers are, if the apostrophe, sorry, are in the correct place, if it's apostrophe in an S, or should it just be an apostrophe, and so on. All right, so that is the end of my lesson. Thank you, grade 8. I really hope you're going to have a good evening further. Goodbye.